Hey everybody, just doing a little mini Bitcoin update. So first off, we do have some PPI data coming out here an hour before the New York Stock Exchange opens. So if that wildly misses the mark, we might get some pre-market volatility, kind of similar to what we saw yesterday. But in general, we don't expect the actual to hit the forecast at all. Uh, Looking into, because it is Friday, looking into next week, big stuff, absolutely huge stuff on Wednesday. Core retail sales and Powell speaking as well. So we got pre-market stuff happening, and then post open, we got some stuff going into the lunch hour in the eastern U.S. Besides that, nothing too crazy. We do have some early closes starting to happen on Thursday. It is Easter weekend, and everything expected to be closed on Friday. Some things, especially on Thursday. So Wednesday, Thursday, we're expecting some pretty decent volatility, especially pre-market with the initial jobless claims, Fed manufacturing index, or the Philly manufacturing index. So going forward onto Bitcoin specifically, we do have pretty decent funding rates right now. Not so much on the token margin side, but on the USDT futures, we have Bitcoin on Binance leading the way. This is definitely very negative. Same thing as Gate, Mexi, a couple of ones looking very good. Bybit, definitely an outlier with a very high funding rate. But in general, it's close to neutral, definitely bullish across the board locally. Expect that to shift if we do have some localized breakdowns. Going over to the liquidations, we are getting closer and closer to the big stuff above us. We actually had that nice move up going into, what was it, yesterday. That upside move, really nice reaction. We've had some localized failures from there, some retests of some lows, and now we've come back up. This little move was allowed quite a bit of short liquidations to start stacking with, 85K looking very, very ripe if we're going to get some kind of breakout move higher. Now, all that being said, the local stuff is technically swing failing. We have lost some levels from yesterday. We had to break down. And now we've got some stuff moving back up to retest these lows. So locally, it's looking a little bit weak as there's a very low liquidity or liquidation level above us. Going over to the resting heat map of order on the order book, we have had some nice moves up into this liquidity. Obviously, some big orders here. A lot of them got pulled before we actually got fills, but we do have a pretty big, wipeout move from 80.7 all the way up to like 82K. So this or 81.9. So pretty big volatility move here. We've already tested the lows now. If we do start to fail lower time frame, breaking back below 80.6 and effectively losing 80K at this point or 80.2 should break us back into the lows of test structure. Until then, you have some technical upside here to retest things, but the higher time frame is still pretty bearish. We do have some orders resting at like 81.8, 81.9, but in general, it's not a massive amount, with some stuff starting to stack below us at like 79.6. So just watch that. We've had some pretty good upside drives for the last couple hours, and if we do happen to start losing some levels, losing below 81K, 80.8, that should be the first kind of like local breakdown with some good levels of tests at 80K at the very least. So going over to the chart, 4 hour looks relatively decent. I was unfortunately I'm not able to do an update yesterday, but we do have some nice breakdowns. Actually, a pretty clear swing failure going into yesterday in the Thursday open. Big retest previous weekly and on the April Q2. Rejections led to a big flush out. Arguably, we front ran the weekly open test, but I would call that about as good as you're going to get at the moment. Locally, you're at some local resistance, not crazy stuff. You have good support down below you from 76K to 77K. So even if we do happen to break down, lose the daily, I'm probably looking for either a test on the weekly, which might be a level, but realistically coming back down to test these lows, which as long as this support holds, you're still looking for price to step off as we potentially build out some bigger structure. Now, the invalidation of that obviously is starting to gain what we've locally lost. So even a retest the Q2 that actually regains some of this previous structure, we could actually look at a little local squeeze, getting us into the resistance above us. Overall, the higher time frame looks potentially good. In the sense that we're starting to form out some structure. It's definitely still down. Like, let's not get it twisted. We're still daily rejecting structure, but we have quite a bit of liquidity and liquidations right up here at 84K. We've had one major test of this resistance already, and the more we test it, the weaker it is, and we're gonna have some potential flushes up. So locally, and what the expectation is here for now, we're testing the low of the current order block around 81.5. If we do have some localized failures, probably failing just right here at 80.8, this kind of plays out that we potentially come back down to retest swing structure on the local move, and if we have that continuation failure, we want to see some flushes all the way back down into like the bigger support stuff. But we do have support here, so this is still looking good to potentially step off. If we do start to fail it, obviously you want to target lower as we start breaking structure to the downside. But until then, you're at a local resistance point, a low time frame. You've got a couple of big levels above you, and it's playing out pretty nicely if we're gonna have some kind of like continuation move back into support. So far, it looks like we're in the lower time frames, we're definitely trending up to some degree, but it's a little sketchy. There's a lot of volatility in the market. I'm not expecting too much out of this, and if we do break back down, I'm looking for some retest sub 80k back at the daily open, which is wildly untested. So if we have some continuations, you want to see the weekly. If we lose the lows here at 80k, I would expect us to go to the weekly and then potentially lower back towards 77. But until then, like I said, you're at local resistance. You can flip that really quick if you start breaking across the level and starting to squeeze. But currently, we seem to just be doing a high volatility rejection candle. Watch for that gain to invalidate the local downside. Until then, I will catch you guys on the next trading day. Peace out.